Hello, Namaskar. This is me, Biinod Shreewastav, and welcome to you all in my channel. Today, I'm going to complete the trifle act. This is the second part of the one act play trifle. First part has already been made. So, if you haven't heard the first part of trifle play, you must listen that, because if you don't listen that first part, it will be very difficult to understand the second part. So, this is the second part. I am going to tell about the second part. Let me remind you the previous stories from trifle play written by Susan Gaspel. In our last part, the first part, we had heard about that while the male George Henderson, Henry Peter, Levi Sale, they went toward the barn to find some evidence, to find some proof. Till then, the two women, they are Mrs. Hill and Mrs. Peter, they both were searching something in the kitchen, and they found a basket in which there were some fabric, bright thread, and they began to talk about what was she doing, what was Mrs. Wright doing. Was she making the quilt or she was making the knot? At the time of searching, they had found a small cage, bird cage in the cupboard, but there was no bird. And they had guessed that the bird might have been killed by the cat, but there was not cat in Mrs. Wright's house. So these thinkings were going on. After that, they were quite surprised to find the one red box in that basket. त्यो बास्केटमा एउटा रेड बक्स थियो, धेरै सुन्दर रेड बक्स फेब्रिकहरूको तल लुकाएर राखिएको थियो. And at the same time, Mrs. Hill told something about Mrs. Wright, that before marriage she was known as Miss Minnie. In the previous, I had told there Mrs. Minnie, no, Miss Minnie. She was unmarried, and she was a cheerful guy. She was a very happy person. She always wanted to enjoy herself. She used to sing the songs. She used to pass her life very enjoyfully. But after the marriage, she became very sad because she didn't find a good companion, a good life partner in her life, because her husband was a very rude-hearted person. He was not a kind-hearted person. He hasn't there was no mutual relationship between husband and wife. He always used to pass his time outside somewhere. There was no any children as well. They hadn't any child. And the woman was alone at home. She was quite nervous, quite sad, because she was not enjoying her married life. And that's why Mrs. Hill knows that she had bought a canary. A canary means a cage with bird, that is known as canary. So she has bought a canary. She has bought the canary for her companionship, so that there is no one in the house, and the husband himself was only found outside. He didn't give his time with his wife. That's why she had bought a canary, a bird, so that the bird could enjoy her, and she could see, she could listen the melodious and chirping sound of the bird, and she could enjoy herself, because she wanted to enjoy herself. Anything, कुनै पनि घरमा कहीँ पनि इन्जोयमेन्टको लागि त केही चाहियो. त उनले एउटा पिंजडामा चरालाई किनेकी थिइन्, ताकि त्यो चरालाई सुनेर उसँग कुरा गरेर आफ्नो एक्लोपना उनी बिताउन सकुन्. So she had bought a canary. But to this, when Mrs. Hale and Mrs. Peter, they were searching, they found the cage without bird, and then they found the red box. They were surprised to see the red box in the basket among the fabrics. They were surprised. But Mrs. Hill took the a red box outside, and then she opened it. When she opened, she found the bird dead inside it. The dead bird, the bird which was killed, it was put into the box. Now she was surprised that why the bird has been put in this red box. What may be the reason? Now the women begin to think about the mentality of Mrs. Wright. त्यहाँ उनीहरूले हाफ क्लिन टावल, उसको घरमा जुन थियो हाफ क्लिन तौली भनौँ, त्यो हेरेकी थिइन्. अनफिनिस्ड क्विल्ट, त्यो क्विल्ट जुन उनले बनाइरहेकी थिइन् त्यो पनि पुरा फिनिश गरिएको थिएन. एन्ड द्याट वाज सीन that nervously mad. That was nervously mad. The quilt was nervously mad. Means all these things showed the mentality of Mrs. Wright, that how nervous she was. That even she was not perfect in cleaning the towels, neither she was perfect in quilting, nor there were some bread scattered out of the bread box. Means quite the situation seemed to be so confusing and so nervous. दिस सोड हर मेन्टालिटी कि उनी आफ्नो श्रीमानबाट कति परेशान थिइन् कि कुनै पनि कुरा उनी राम्रोसँग गर्न सक्दिनन् थिइन्। अब मिसेज हेलले गेस गर्छिन् कि पक्कै उनको श्रीमानले यो चरालाई मारिदिएको होला, किनकि उनी चरा ल्याएकी थिइन् आफ्नो इन्जोयमेन्टको लागि। चरा पनि गीत गाउँछ होला। द बर्ड माइट बी स्पिकिङ समथिङ द्याट द हस्बेन्ड माइट नट ह्याभ लाइक्ड, एन्ड द्याट्स वाइ ही मस्ट ह्याभ किल्ड द बर्ड। एन्ड बिङ एङ्ग्री, Mrs. Wright had killed, or Mrs. Wright must have killed her own husband. This was not the one day agitation of the heart. This was not the one day irritation of the heart that was caused because of her husband, but it was truly from the very long time the stress, the tension, the irritation, the agitation caused by husband had been suppressed in her heart. But when he killed the bird, when the husband killed the bird, which was the only means of entertainment for Mrs. Wright, she couldn't bear it. And she killed her husband while he was sleeping. She, tightened the rope and she killed him by strangling his head, his neck. She killed. They guessed and they found out that, and this was reality, she had killed. Because he killed the bird which was the only source of her happiness in the house. Being angry, she killed. When she was small, one of her kitten was killed by a small child, and she had been very furious at that time. She had been so angry on that boy because he had killed the kitten of Mrs. Wright. The child had killed the kitten, and she was very angry. So Mrs. Hale guessed here that he must have killed the bird, and that's why she might have killed her husband. In this way, they found out it. But they hid the red box in a bag so that the male, or Henderson, Henry Peter and Lewis Hale, could not find out. Now they began to think to save Mrs. Wright, although they had gone there to search the clue for the murder. But when they understood the mentality, when they understood the domination of husband on his wife, they began to take their support. They began to give their support to Mrs. Wright. Now they wanted to save Mrs. Wright. That's why they began to, they started hiding the proofs. So first they hid the red box in a big box, in a big bag. But the bag was actually small, not big. It was small, and the box was a little bit big. That's why she took the bird out of the box and she hid in her petticoat. When the three male characters entered inside from the barn, and they didn't say anything, the female characters, they didn't say anything about the dead bird, but see, they thought that if we show something, or if they see something, they will again talk something by commenting on our TRIFLES work, that what women are doing here. That's why they didn't show anything, but they hid because they wanted to save Mrs. Wright now. Because Mrs. Wright was very much dominated by her husband and she wanted to have free. That's why she hid. After that, the male entered inside and they went toward the upstairs to examine, to analyze the rope inch by inch. हामीहरु माथि गइरहेको छौं त्यो रोपलाई पुनः हेर्नको लागि, राम्रोसँग त्यो प्रुफलाई रिभाइज गर्नको लागि। तपाईहरु तबसम्म यतै यिनीहरु तल बसेको थियो। So she took the bird and she had already hidden in the petticoat. But that was also not easy. That's why Mrs. Hale snatched the bird and she put in her petticoat. And finally, when Henry Peter, Mr. Hale and Mr. Hale and George Henderson, when they returned, they finally said, the counter attorney, means George Henderson, said that, well, Henry, at least we found out that she was not going to quilt it. She was going to, what you call it, ladies. Then Mrs. Hale says, we call it not it, Mr. Henderson. In this line, with this line, it has been completed. But finally we come to know that to whom they were showing or they were hating the women, that they can't find anything. Finally they found everything. They found out that who the murderer was actually. And they not only found out the murderer, they also found out the reason of the murder. They understood about the mentality of Mrs. Wright, that what mentality she had been going through, that she became so angry and killed her husband. So they not only found out the murderer, they also found out the mentality of Mrs. Wright that was caused by Mr. Wright. And in this way, it has been commented, the story is a satire on the male domination, that although they were thinking that women can do nothing, but women found out the main real motive of the murdering and murderer. Why did Mrs. Wright kill? They also found it out, and who is the real murderer and why did she kill her husband? They found it out. So finally, the story ends with this. If we try to understand the story theme, then we have to understand something. What is the theme of the story? In the theme of the story, we can say that there is male domination in the theme of the story. There is male domination. Male domination has been shown. Whenever we see that they said, you please to women stay in the kitchen and arrange the things which has been scattered here for Mrs. Wright. Please arrange. Till then we are searching upstairs. Here also we see male domination. Means at that time we see that they think that women can do nothing. That's why they are left in the त्यसैले उनीहरूलाई किचनमा छोडिदियो. यहाँ पनि हामी मेल डोमिनेसन हेर्छौँ. अर्को उसको हस्बेन्डले आफ्नो श्रीमतीलाई समय नदिनु, उसको मेन्टालिटी नै नबुझ्नु, उसको मनको कुरालाई नबुझ्नु, यहाँ पनि मेल डोमिनेसन देखाउँछ. हाम्रो समाजमा पनि मेल डोमिनेसन छ. केटा मान्छेहरू बाहिर घुम्न जान सक्छन्, साथी बनाउन सक्छन्, केटीहरू बाहिर घुम्न जान सक्दैनन्. यहाँ पनि मेल डोमिनेसन छ. यो कथामा मेल डोमिनेसन, यसको थीममा मेल डोमिनेसन पनि छ. अर्को द नेक्स्ट थिङ which we find in the theme of this story, that is known as isolation. Isolation means the person who has been isolated, separated from the companies, from the friends, हैन, अलगपना हुनु, एक्लोपना हुनु, doesn't it? यो कुरा पनि यसमा सोलिडारिटी पनि यसमा देखाइएको छ. एक्लोपना, आइमाईहरू घरमा जहिले पनि आफूले एक्लोपना महसुस गर्छन् if there are no more members of the family. So they feel very bad and they feel alone because husbands and the male characters, male members have to go outside, but women are left inside. So if there is only one woman in a home, they feel very bad. They feel they are isolated, and they are not allowed to involve themselves in other activities as well, like we male are allowed to do. पार्टीमा जानु, यता घुम्नु, बेलुकातिर घुम्नु आदि तिनीहरुले छैन. त यसमा आइसोलेसन पनि हामी थीममा हेर्छौं, जसमा मिसेस राइटलाई एकदम आइसोलेटेड गरिएको थियो, एक्लै हुनु पर्थ्यो, उलाई बच्चा पनि थिएन, जसको कारणले गर्दा एक्लोपना जिन्दगी जिउनु त बडा गाह्रो पर्छ नि. इट्स भेरी डिफिकल्ट टु पास द लाइफ इन अलोफनेस, टु पास द लाइफ alonely. That's why there is isolation as well. Similarly, we can see loss of identity. There is also loss of identity. First, for your kind information, I can tell you that before birth, a girl is known by the name of her father. After marriage, she is known by the name of her husband. And after the child is born, she is known by her firstborn child. पहिलो जन्मेको बच्चाको नामबाट उसको नाम चिनिन्छ. तर उसको नाम कहाँ छ? हामी कहाँ भन्छौँ मिसेस पुष्पा, हामी कहाँ भन्छौँ मिसेस रीना, हामी भन्छौँ मिसेस रमेश, मिसेस राम, भने उसले आफ्नो नाम पनि गुमाइहाल्छ. सो यसमा यो दिएको छ कि आइमाईहरूको आफ्नो पहिचान छैन. देयर इज नो देयर ओन आइडेन्टिटी. दे विल लुज देयर ओन आइडेन्टिटी. Their name is not resounded. Their name is not recited by somebody. So there is loss of identity for the girls as well. And there also we see in the theme of the story that revenge and violence. There is also the talk of revenge and violence. She took revenge by killing her husband. Why didn't you keep me in freedom? Why didn't you give me freedom? Why didn't you give me your companionship? She took revenge. And there is violence as well because she has killed her own husband with the rope round his neck. So there is violence as well, no? There is violence from the girl side to the boy. हैन, केटीले केटाप्रति भाइलेन्स, तर के को लागि? बदला लिनको लागि. के को लागि? फ्रीडम. मलाई पनि स्वतन्त्रता देऊ, म पनि स्वतन्त्र जीवन जिउन चाहन्छु, मसँग पनि कुरा गर. यसको लागि यसमा रिभेन्ज र भाइलेन्सको पनि कुराहरु छ. र अर्को यसमा छ फ्रीडम बाइ रिभेलियन. विद्रोह गरेर भए पनि स्वतन्त्रता लिनु कुरा पनि बताएको छ. हियर सी किल्ड हर हस्बैंड टु गेट फ्री. तपाईहरुलाई याद होला जब मिस्टर हेल घरभित्र पसेको थियो त उले मिसेस राइटलाई रकिङ चेयरमा झुलेको देख्यो. द्याट वाज गिभिङ द इन्डिकेसन हाउ रिलिफ सी वाज फिलिङ एट द्याट टाइम. Very relief and quite comfortably she was rocking there, that today I got free from my husband, a scary husband, rude husband, and that's why she was rocking there. And when he asked, where is Mr. John, where is Mr. Wright, she said that he has been dead upstairs with a rope round neck. She simply said as if nothing had happened, and she doesn't have any trouble for the husband, for the death of her husband. So she simply said. त यहाँ पनि हामी फ्रीडम बाई रिबेलियनको कुरा हामी हेर्छौँ. एन्ड फाइनली वी सी फेमिनिजम. यसमा फेमिनिजम पनि छ, मतलब केटीबारिता हैन. जब व्हेन अ पर्सन टक्स अबाउट advocates something about or for the favor of the girls only is spoken. If anyone speak for the favor of girl, that is known as feminism. So there also we see the feminism. How can we say? Although the two women, Mrs. Hill and Mrs. Peter, both have gone there to find out the clue to send Mrs. Wright in the jail forever for getting the punishment by the court forever on the suspect of her husband's murder. त्यसैको लागि नै तिनीहरू गएको थियो. तर पछि तिनीहरूले कसको पक्ष लियो? तिनीहरू पक्ष लियो मिसेस राइटको. Later they started saving her. They started hiding the clue of the murder, of the proof, and that's why it shows that there is feminism. Whenever George Henderson and Henry Peter commented something on the kitchen work, then they just replied at the same time, this is not the fault of the girls, this is the fault of the husbands or the male. तिनीहरू मेललाई दोष लगाइदिन्छन्, उसको पक्षमा बोल्छन्. त यसमा हामी फेमिनिजम पनि हेर्छौं. These are the theme of this story. I hope you understood it, and if you haven't understood, you can also see this video again and again, or if there is any question, you can ask me on my email address, that is biinod.shreewastav@gmail.com. You can ask me the question, you can phone me as well. The number is available on WhatsApp, so you can ask from there as well. I hope you understood it, and have a good day. Thank you. बना लेने